for some team league and stuff, but more about that later, because we should be more or less set to jump on into the game number 2 between JonnyREcco and Adonminus.
Yes, indeed. And currently 1 up against an opponent. But down in the bottom right corner, we have the pink Zerg, JonnyREcco. His opponent, currently down 1. My math skills are amazing. It is the purple Protoss player, Adonminus. And I must say so, Adonminus gets bonus points for just trying out that build.
I mean, honestly, we've seen it work before. I don't actually think you cast it for me back in the Summer League. Maybe you did, maybe 1 or 2 of the qualifiers. Yeah. I can't really remember, but yeah, I do think you did a couple of times actually.
Yep.
But either way, Adonminus, he used some crazy strategies back then. You know, he used this kind of strategy at beat players such as Copenhagen Wolf Storm. Yeah, I actually think you may have even taken a map of JonnyREcco with it in the past, and honestly, I think that's why JonnyREcco was so prepared to just all of a sudden switch. I think he's probably aware of the kind of crazy styles Adonminus will try. And now here on Daedalus Point, I've just got to wonder, what does Adonminus have in mind? It's not the best map for Protoss against Zerg players by a large margin. And I can't help but feel he must have something crazy once again lined up for us here to try and take game number 2.
Yes, it's... I don't know, he's sort of checking out outside the base here and doing a bit of a scouting, but otherwise it seems like a standard straight-up build. Nothing funny. At the same time, JonnyREcco is doing the same thing. He's going directly for a straight-up. He has the... spawning pool pretty ready. He has just starting out with all of his drones, sending out a few Zergling scouts to check out what's happening back in Adonminus base, and he's probably not gonna see anything, but because there's gonna be a wall there pretty soon. Oh.
I'm just nodding, man. I'm just agreeing. This map. I'm not sure if you actually played any StarCraft while the ramp was huge, but the ramp used to be like almost twice the size at the natural.
Yeah, I know.
And it was just broken. Like you couldn't wall off at all, and every Zerg would just open 14-14, and it was pretty broken. And JonnyREcco, he does have a gas mining. He is going to get his speed up, but there should be a wall in plenty of time. Mothership Core is out to deflect these first 2 Zerglings, and this is just a nice slow opening for either side. Nothing too crazy is going to be happening, and we'll just keep an eye on what Adonminus wants to do, because he really is going to be the player once again setting the pace of this game. And I just wonder, is he going to do something crazy on 3 base, or is he going to try 2 base timing? Because I just don't see him playing a standard 3 base game. It has to be something crazy in my eyes.
It could actually be a 2-base timing. He goes for a quite quick sentry, which is good, so he could do a sentry push, but as you said, it's hard to read at this moment. He's going both into gas, which is also pretty standard, so it's nothing to say about that. So it's nothing funky going on, and I really like that, because now we can actually see the sheer skills between these 2 players and see what they're actually made of. So no special build, nothing weird. It's going to be a straight up battle.
I wonder, right now, Adonminus isn't throwing down any tech, and he is moving a probe over to the right hand side now. It's going to come into range of the tower here, and I mean, I feel like this probe wanted to make a pylon, but with this Ling finding it, it's just not going to be able to. It might have just wanted to take the tower, but it's kind of weird for the Protoss player to try and take the tower, because I mean, what are you going to see moving up the right-hand side of the map? Like, if the Zerg wants to attack, he's going to come straight through the middle at you. So I feel like Adonminus wanted to maybe get a bit aggressive with these 3 gateways, and now he's kind of going to plan B, which is to just throw down the Stargate, maybe a little bit later than he would have liked. But JonnyREcco, scouting the main base, isn't going to spot much. He has an Overlord in that natural if he wants to move forward, but it's not too much of an issue if he doesn't scout the Stargate, because the Phoenixes, they're likely to start hunting down the Overlords quite quickly anyway, and he's not going to take too much damage from these at all. You generally don't. The Stargate's just there to give the Protoss some map control. You pick up a couple kills here and there, but it's never really deadly.
No, it's just there to give the option of actually going for more air. But hey, Phoenix is good. They're always useful. They can be actually. They might just be there just to force JonnyREcco to go spores. It's a bit of an investment for a Protoss player, but no. No, it's not. It is actually a Void Ray. Okay. Change of
Yeah,
plans.
this isn't so weird because there's a couple different things he can do. I mean, he can either go. What would be interesting if he went for kind of a big like Void Ray 7 gate, but he's not going to do that. He adds on his Forge here, so he's actually just going to play a Sky Protoss style while taking a third base in the near future. So. I mean, in fact, right now he's going to start moving out. He's going to clear out this Ling on his third base. He's got the probe with him, so he's got a lot of minerals too. So he's ready to make this third nexus, and there we go. Up it comes Ling. Isn't going to be able to get this probe or anything. But just spot the third base on its way, and I mean, this is good for JonnyREcco. He knows straight away what he's playing against. He knows now, well, I can either expand myself. Do I make a lot of units to try and react to this? No, I just make a bunch of drones, and I'm going to expand. That's his answer. And a second Void Ray on the way out here for Adonminus. A robot facility as well, so he's just going to head into what's most likely going to be a Void Ray Colossus composition. He could add on a couple of Immortals first if he wants to be a little bit more safe against roaches, but Void Ray Colossal, Void Ray Colossi is going to be the overall goal here for his composition.
Yeah, and it's we'll see here around the 10-minute mark exactly what the plan is for JonnyREcco. So he's actually going for a fourth base here, but is he going to just mass roaches and try to move out right now? He could do it, but I don't know. It's not looking that. He well, actually, he has to use missile attacks level 1. He has to glide reconstruction to get the actual movement going. So yeah, it looks like sort of it could be a roach timing.
Yeah, I mean he's adding on that high list, and you know his roach speed just finishes. He goes +1 on the way. You know it's very possible that he just moves out here with the roach high force, but no, he actually throws down the infestation pit. So he's not going to commit too much into an attack. I think he's just the most likely. Well, you know, there's two things he can do because he's investing in grooved spines. It might just be that he goes straight up to a hive here to get the vipers out and start abducting very quickly. Alternatively, he could go into Swarm Host play, but if he's going to go into Swarm Host, I don't really see why he would start getting grooved spines, or why he would get the infestation pit this early. You know, it could be either or. You know, you do want something to support the Swarm Host, so Hydras may be his option. But I don't think it's essential to start the grooved spines this early. We're about to find out. The infestation pit's finished, and we'll find out exactly what he wants to do here in the next few moments, and there's the hive. So it's just going to be basically a Roach Hydra timing as fast as he can off of 4 bases. And the most important thing about this is you've got to be ready to tech switch, because, you know, it's cool doing this, and, well, Adonminus is going to come in and scout, so Adonminus, his response to this should be to put down Templar Archives nice and quickly. But, you know, what JonnyREcco needs to do is be ready to tech switch out of this with kind of a Spire, get ready to make a lot of Mutalisks or something along those lines, because if he doesn't, then he's going to be stuck on this Roach Hydra composition, which is almost useless once the Templar Archives is up and the Templar are out to start feedbacking, and even later on Storm.
Yeah, and if actually I've found an update on the stream. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that we have about 280 viewers right now, so welcome. I hope you enjoy yourself. This is the game between. This is the second game between JonnyREcco and Adonminus. So
pretty slow game at the minute. An Oracle goes down in the main base of JonnyREcco. I didn't actually see that get made, but it did have 5 kills on it, so it picked off some drones here or there. Nothing too major though. I didn't actually realize him sneaking Oracle into this build, but there you go. So yeah, I mean, right now we've got +1 weapons on the way for Adonminus. He's starting his Twilight to keep his upgrades going, and now he's going into double Colossi production. He's got a lot of Void Rays out already, 5. He's going up to 7. And, I mean, I'm just a little bit afraid because he doesn't have a Templar Archives. He's not going to have feedbacks. And we already have 4 Vipers on the way. And when this timing hits, he's going to have 2 Colossi with his 3rd and 4th almost being finished, depending on how well he spends his Chrono Boost here. So this could be a very scary timing by JonnyREcco, where he could just abduct all of the splash damage, and all of a sudden Adonminus is left with basically nothing but Void Rays. And, you know, Void Rays are cool if the Force Fields are good, but then it comes down a lot to them Force Fields. That being said, you know, I mentioned before, JonnyREcco, he needs to tech switch out of this, and right now he doesn't have that. He's just continuing to build Hydras, no Spire in sight, no kind of Swarm Host upgrades. So just nothing so far, just a nice slow game, but it's going to spice up here very quickly because the Corruptors, they're consuming, and they're going to have energy here in a moment.
Yes, it's looking to be quite a big battle pretty soon here. Both players are soon getting ready to move out and try to test each other's armies, and I don't know. I will, if Storm actually finishes before JonnyREcco's army attacks. I think that Adonminus is in really good shape, but he actually attacks before Stormus finishes, which is putting him in a really bad shape.
This is weird. We actually seen Ultra's Cavern come down here, and he starts now. JonnyREcco, he starts his melee upgrades, but he's starting these melee upgrades rather late for a switch into Ultralisks. Templars are out, so they're going to be here in time for feedbacks to come down, and now this comes down a lot to control. JonnyREcco's in a good position though. One yank on a Colossus straight away here, and that's one Colossus down. He has a good concave as this engagement begins.
Yeah, it's really good engagement here by both players. The Voidways are doing a lot of damage against the Hydra. It's the same thing that the actually Zealots tanks a lot of damage and cleans this up really good here from Adonminus.
Well, that just didn't work at all. And now he builds 3 more Vipers, 3 Infestors, and 1 Ultras against 34 Zerglings. But the problem is he didn't really reset the tech path of Adonminus at all. He killed off a few of the Templars. He killed off an Immortal or 2. I mean, actually, let's check exactly what he lost. He lost 1 Colossi, 2 Void Rays, and 3 Templars. So, really, I mean, Adonminus, he still has a lot of Colossi, and he's got a really strong timing right now to move across the map and counterattack. And I mean, I don't really see the Ultralisks being that useful because they're going to have 1/1 upgrades for a long time, and that was a really good trade so far for Adonminus.
Yeah, I wonder what happened to the Vipers. They just melted. I think they abducted 1 Colossus, maybe 2, and that's it. Then it just melted away. They couldn't go for a third.
I think they got actually feedbacked before they got the second Colossi, so they only got 1, which was actually out of position in the first place. And I mean, they just did nothing, and everything was just nicely timed here by Adonminus. And you can see now JonnyREcco, he's trying to buy himself some time, doing a few little run-bys with Lings, but it's not far for Adonminus to walk over to this left-hand side. JonnyREcco's about to be maxed out again, but I'm just scared about the lack of efficiency of his army. I mean, again, he's got Ultralisks, which they must have chitinous plating, right? I'm not sure. I'm trying to find one. No, they don't. They don't even have chitinous plating yet. So that's only just starting. So he's on 1/1 upgrades with these Ultras. No chitinous plating. They're just not going to trade well unless he can buy a lot more time. And Adonminus, he's giving him time right now, but he's beginning to harass with Warp Prism to the top right side. It's just sitting there, but it can start warping in some Zealots very soon to start picking off these bases. JonnyREcco does have nice map control, but again, he just can't afford to take a fire, I don't think.
No, it's not looking like that right now, and there's actually a Warp Prism now that's going to do the harassment up to the top right base, and Spies are just going in and they will do nothing, so this base is going to be... no, it's probably not going to fall, but it forces the whole army of... Wow! JonnyREcco to go back.
We have stuff going on all over the place. We've got Lings in the main base, we've got Lings in the natural of Adonminus, we've got the army cleaning up the Warp Prism to the right hand side, and we've got a couple of Hallucinated Phoenix scanned through the middle, but this is great damage by JonnyREcco. Picks off the natural nexus. Zealots clean up the workers, the Lings in the main base quite handily, but the looks as though the Warp Prism is probably going to go down here. A few more Lings are still surviving. They're going to try and get a pylon before they die. Adrenal Glands gives them so much DPS, so he does empower a few gateways here. Does JonnyREcco, but that's about it. I mean, overall, that was really bad for Adonminus, losing his natural expansion. He still has some decent mining to be done there.
Yeah, that was really sloppy. The Zerglings just ran past everything. So right now, with that maneuver, I think JonnyREcco is back in the game. He has delayed the game so far that it's actually getting the plating he needs for the Ultralisks.
Yeah, 3 more Ultras about to come up, and I mean, he's bought his time. I mean, he's got +2 Carapace, he's got Kindness Plating, he's got a ton of Queens here to transfuse as well. I can't help but feel he should wait another minute for his +2 melee, and you can see he's not rushing in right now. He's just moving it back and forward, and he's actually going to go forward with 2 Infestors, and he locks them in place. His army in place with a fungal growth, and well, Templars are coming forward, and feedbacks are going to be key here, but I don't think he can get his Templars in range, and a lot of Colossi going down. And Blinding Clouds as well to stop the DPS coming out, and so many Queens will deal with these Void Rays, but he needs some transfuses because all of his Ultras are going to start dying.
Yeah, the Queens are really doing their share of work here. They're infusing so good that there's actually 4 alive of the Ultras right now, and there's no army left, and those poor Templars are going to be really destroyed before getting a couple of good storms up.
This was actually really close, but I mean, the Queens just survived. I think JonnyREcco, had he started transfusing a bit earlier, he would have had a lot more left over here, but as it stands, it's not going to matter. He took down what he needed to take down. The Colossi are dead, and now 34 Lings, 6 Ultralisks on the way. The 5 base economy really starting to kick in here, and the Remax is just going to be absolutely brutal. And I think Adonminus, he's out of this game. I really thought he was in a good spot, especially after the first fight. I just thought he was way too passive. You know, he had a huge advantage, but he just did not make use of it.
Yeah, he just sat back in his base and did nothing. He did a small harassment, but it wasn't enough. That actually bought JonnyREcco so much time that he just could go back, he could rebuild his army, do another composition, and just move over